We are at the start of the year 2021, and 2020 is behind us. So, in this session, let's look at how we can take what worked in 2020 and develop a strategic plan for 2021. So, one of the goals is to pay attention to what is called the stimulus check process. At the end of 2020, the U.S. government issued what was called stimulus checks. And one of our goals is to determine whether or not you are eligible to receive the $1,200 or the $600 check. Next, we're going to look at the financials for child support. That is, who are making the money, what is called the wage garnishment process, which is 45 CFR 32. Another goal we're going to this year is we're going to pay attention to our paperwork. We're going to collect or organize our court orders, petitions, motions, affidavits. If you don't have them in your possession, contact the courts or the administrative environment and get a hold of your paperwork. You need to understand where you are with your case if you're going to develop a strategy to escape child support. We will also look at the legislation that was passed in 2020, as well as any new legislation and how we can take advantage of that. Also, understand we'll take a closer look at your employer. Yes, part of the child support program is a cooperation by your employer. We've said in 2020 there was a $24 billion contract between your employment services and child support in order to hand over your paycheck. Hello, my name is Chris, and in this session, we're going to take a look back of the successes for 2020, and we're going to use those strategies to develop a plan for 2021 to escape child support. At the end of this session, we have a section called Call to Action, and this is where, after reviewing the video, we give you tips and strategies for escaping the child support. In 2020, one of the biggest things that happened was the global pandemic from COVID-19. And as a result of this pandemic, many people within the U.S. and around the globe lost their jobs. At that point, child support enforcement programs kicked in, such as driver's license program revocation, passports, as well as arrears. The next goal we're going to develop is know your enemy. That's from the book Art of War, Sun Tzu. You need to know your judges, your commissioners, your support managers, your clerks, your administrator. In other words, know who they are, know their names. The next goal is to determine whether you qualify for the stimulus check. And we'll touch more on that later. The stimulus check is not income, it's really a rebate. And I'll repeat that. The money that you get, which is the $1,200 and the $600, are called rebates. They're not income. Unfortunately, child support was taking the first stimulus check. However, on the second stimulus check, it's supposed to be free from garnishment. We produced a video on this. Please check that out to learn more about the program. Let's look at now the financials for child support. This is the year 2019. As you know, they always calculate a year behind. It takes them a year to put all the numbers together. So in 2019, which is the earliest that was released in January 2021, they collected $28.7 billion. They paid out $27.6 billion to families. Now, doing the quick math, that is a delta or a difference of $1.1 billion. Yes, child support is a profitable business. In fact, they went on to say for every $5.06 that they collect in child support payments, they only spent $1 on the program. That is a tremendous profit margin. So let's look at the numbers closer when it comes to the states. So we ranked all the states based on how much garnishment. That is, the garnishment process is 45 CFR 32. So Texas comes out on top at $4.35 billion. Then next is California in the number 2 slot at $2.42 billion. Then there's New York at $1.72 billion, Ohio $1.5 billion, and Florida $1.49 billion. Now we have the arrow pointing at California, and here's the significance. California has twice the population of Texas. However, Texas collects twice the dollar amount of California. That should be cause for concern, because if child support is based on the number of men and cases within the state, how is it that Texas is able to gain more than California? So in 2019, here are the totals for what's called Paternity Acknowledgment. For those of you who are not familiar with the channel, Paternity Acknowledgment is where the bulk of what is called customers, quote unquote, for the child support program. Of course, Texas tops the chart at $157,000. Next is California and the other states, but it's mostly men. Now, why is the paternity acknowledgement is important? Because this is where they mandatorily enroll men into the program in the hospital. Now, the significance of understanding acknowledgement program, here's a goal. You need to identify whether or not in your child support process, are there lawyers or are there students? We have a video called Students Can Practice. They passed this new law in New Jersey where students were given a pass in 2020 as a result of the pandemic to practice law. Where do you think those students ends up? In the child support program, many of them. And where would the list of victims? They would start with the acknowledgement of paternity program. We have a video on that if you want to learn more about how this was done, called Students Can Practice Law. There was some significant legislative changes in 2020. In addition to providing support for the stimulus check, they also passed a new law regarding what is called the Indian tribe bill, which is S4844. Now, many of you are going to say, politically correct Indian tribe shouldn't be Native Americans. Well, I'm reading the bill as it's written, and here they called it state or Indian tribe or tribal organization. And what they've done now is they've included the Indian territories within child support. Now, a few of you who've reached out to me, we've discussed that there are a few of you are using a strategy where Indians are not within the United States and therefore you're not within the jurisdiction of child support. Well, if you're going to continue to do that in 2021, I suggest that you review this bill. I think they have closed those loopholes. Now, as I said, they call it the Tribal Child Support Agency contacts. Here are the contacts on the screen. So again, politically correct. These are not my words, tribal child support, but this is what they've called it. And they've listed here all the contacts for those who want to place Native Americans on the child support program. So in other words, they're under the jurisdiction of the court. Another strategy that was employed in 2020 called the 1099 program, we're still going to push forward with that strategy as well. As you know, 1099 workers are not included in child support. However, the child support agency, they lie to you. So I have you on the screen, which is an article from the Lawyers Weekly, which it's January 29, 2020. And here they said here in the second sentence that the state of Virginia was attempting to close the loophole on 1099 program. New Jersey also did the same thing. California tried to do it. All the states, while they lie about 1099 included in the program, they're trying to write laws in which to close that loophole. So here we are at what the section is called to action. So For 2021, your strategic goal is to organize your court documents, your petitions, your motions, your affidavits. Get to know what information is written about your case. Next, know who the judges are, your clerks, your magistrate. Know their names. Just know who are there. Because if you're going to defeat them, you need to understand who are your opponents are. Next, do a little bit of research. Get on the internet. Do some searches. Find out if your judges have disciplinary actions against them. Who has license? Who does not have license? It's good to know because you can use those strategies to escape child support. And finally, the stimulus check and the stimulus package. The 2 stimulus checks that were issued, if you have child support, you can recover the payments. I have a video on that says get my stimulus checks. But going forward, there'll be additional stimulus checks, and you want to make sure that you qualify for those programs. So here we're at the end. If you agree or disagree with any of the statements we've made here, please feel to contact us at chrish289@protonmail.com. We ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as press the notification bell. Also, we ask for small donation, any donation of any type to help us to continue our research to give you more information on the program. And as always, if you have any tips, strategies you'd like to share with us, please email us, as well as there are videos on the screen that you follow and learn more about the child support program. Thank you.